Okay, so in this video we're going to be looking at how to set up class notebooks in OneNote, which is extremely useful for moving on to an online platform for digital learning. So first off, we want to make sure that we have the right version of OneNote installed. So if you hit the Windows key, or this Windows button down here, and type in OneNote, or start to type it in, you need to make sure that you have the OneNote app installed and not the OneNote 2016 software installed. If you have the 2016 version installed, it can actually be quite slow and won't respond as well and can't handle the amount of tabs and tasks that we are going to have in our OneNote. So open up the OneNote here. I've already got that one open, and at the top you should see a class notebook tab. If you don't have that one, you might not have the right version of OneNote, and you need to double check to make sure that you've got the OneNote app. Okay, so first off, I've got a notebook already set up, so we're going to ignore this one for now. We're going to go to our class notebook, and we're going to create a class notebook. Now this is going to open up either Chrome or Internet Explorer depending on which browser is your default browser. It shouldn't matter too much. When we sign in, we're going to sign in with our usual EQ email, and this will take us to our organization sign-in page where we log in like usual. Some of you might not have to do this, as you might already have the settings saved in. So it's going to take us to this website here. Now the reason it takes us here is because in the app you can't actually physically set up the notebooks. You have to do that online. And it takes you through a few steps down here. So first off, we're going to name our class. So what is the name of your class? So for example, for this one we're going to use 8 Math 2020, and you can name it however you like, and then just hit next. Now the notebook overview gives you a overview of the different sections that are going to be in your notebook. The way the notebook works is you have your overall book, and then you have your sections and pages and tabs, which we'll get into in a later video on how to set up a OneNote book so it looks all neat and tidy for your class. Okay, so we're just going to skip this section here. It tells you everything that students can edit, teachers can edit, so our collaboration space, both teachers and students can edit. Our content library is where we post all of our content, in which the teacher can edit and the students can only view. And then the student notebooks each get a private notebook where we can edit, and they can edit their own content, but they cannot view other students' notebooks. So we're just going to hit next. Now if you want other teachers to join in your notebook, if you share a class or if you want to collaborate with other teachers, you can type in their name or email address here. So I've got mine here, or if I wanted to share my 8 math with Miss Stafford, she could pop up here as well, as she is the SAC of 8 math. We're just going to skip this step for now, but you can just add them and click them. Now your student's name. Now this is where it can get a bit tricky. So you actually have to paste in all your students' names and separate them by a semicolon. The fastest way I've found to do this is to use daymap. You can manually look up each student if you want. For example, if we were going to look up Jack Stafford, we could look him up, click on him, and then click on the next one. So if you prefer to just type them in manually, you can do that. What we're going to do is we're going to use daymap to quickly do this step. So we're just going to go to daymap, sign in, and what daymap can do is it can actually generate mass emails. So if you go up to communications and email distribution lists, you're going to get this one here, which I'm sure we've all used before. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this drop down menu and click class, and in here you're going to type in the first letter. So we're doing math, so we're going to hit M, and that's going to take us to all the MAs, and we're going to go to our math year 8, and I've got H, so I'm going to click on them, and instead of going show all students and staff, we're going to click this one and go down to student. Okay, so what this does is this gives us a list of all of our students in that class. So we're just going to select all. Okay, so it ticks all of these boxes here, and if you click on this here, it will open and mass email using BCC in Outlook. So we're going to click this one here, And what you have here is you actually have all the emails of your students. Now, after some time, this changes to contact profiles, but it stays like this for a little while. So what we're going to do is we're going to select all of this text by clicking and dragging, and you can either right click and copy or hit Control C, which is the shortcut. We'll minimize this, we'll go back to our class notebook, and in here you can either right click and paste or you can hit Control V. And what this does is this will automatically generate each student, and you can double check, hover over them to make sure it goes to each of the correct students. Now if this one doesn't work, unfortunately you have to type in the names individually, or you could download a Excel sheet from one school, or even just come over here and just copy the email, paste it in, and then copy the email and paste it in manually. Okay, but if you do it quick enough in Outlook, it should automatically do it. And if you see here, it's actually gone back to the contact cards here. So if that does happen, you can always exit it, re-click them all, or re-click select all, click on it again, and it'll generate the emails where you can copy and paste them. Okay, so then what we do is we hit next, but for now I'm going to actually delete all these because I don't want any of my students in. I've already set up my notebook, so I don't need to remake another one. So you just hit next, okay, and what it will take you to now is your private spaces. Now what this is this is the sections that each student has in their individual notebooks. And you can customize this however you like. So you might have lesson, you could have answers to quiz, where they post their answers, homework quizzes, however you want. So we're going to have lessons, answers to quiz, homework, and working out. We'll have a little working out section where they can do their working out if you need it. You can add sections here, and you can also remove them using the X's. You don't need to stress too much about this section now because you can actually customize it as you go along. So we're just going to leave these 4 sections here now and just hit next. Next is going to preview what you see. Okay, so this is the teacher's notebook. You're going to see your collaboration space, which is where everybody can post. You're going to see the content library, which is where we have our individual things. And then if you actually click on students' notebooks, you can see here that they see the collaboration space, they see the content library, and then they have their individual sections that we made back in number 5. Lessons, answers to quiz, homework, working out. And if you look here, they've got lessons, answers to quiz, homework, and working out. You then hit create, and you'll get this section here, and this might take a couple of minutes depending on the number of students that you have on your notebook. So it also might take a little while longer if you're on Internet Explorer. Now it's going to pop up with this. Your notebook is ready for you, and it'll say open in OneNote online or open in OneNote. We're going to click on this one. Here where it has the class notebook add-in, you don't need to worry about that because all our laptops should be on Windows 10 and we don't use Mac for our for school. You'll get an email here confirming that your notebook has been made, so you can ignore that for now. So we're just going to hit open in OneNote. Okay, you might get a little pop-up here, it might be different on Internet Explorer, but we're just going to click open in OneNote. And what you're going to see is it'll open this link here, which can take a little while as well, and we're going to have our notebook here. Okay, so we're going to have 8 Math 2020, you'll have your collaboration space and your content library, and clicking on these arrows here drop it down to the different sections, which we'll talk about in our next video, where we talk about how to set up this notebook neatly so that students can easily navigate it and access the content that they need. Thank you for listening, and hopefully this helps to set up your class notebooks.